Discover how helping a veteran-s dog led to an incredible turnaround. Marine stunned everyone. Ryan wiped the grease from his forehead as he squinted at the flat tire in front of him. It was just another day at his repair shop in Maplewood, a quaint little town where life whispered softly and troubles were often muted behind a worn-out smile. But even here, the weight of his struggles was heavy. Jessica, his wife, worked tirelessly at the diner and a local grocery store, trying to keep their family afloat. Their spirited kids, Lily and Jake, were growing up fast, but the bills were piling up even faster. For Ryan, the hum of engines was often the only balm for a heart anxiously racing against the ticking clock of debt and worry. Then it happened. While crouching by the roadside to change the tire, a flicker of movement caught his eye. A scruffy dog, a hound mix, was darting between cars. Its collar dangled precariously, a worn tag glimmering in the sun. Buddy, it read, and Ryan's heart ached. Someone must be missing this furball. The thought of leaving the dog in distress stirred something deep within him. He dropped his tools and approached slowly, the engine's hum fading into the background. Buddy's big, scared eyes locked onto Ryan's. His instincts kicked in. He knelt down, hands outstretched. "Hey there, Buddy." "It's okay," Ryan soothed, his voice a gentle caress. He was unaware of how much this moment was going to mean not just for the dog, but for Sam, the local veteran who had been searching tirelessly for his companion. Ryan's heart raced as he committed to finding Buddy's owner no matter the cost. Yet, as he dove deeper into this mission, his own family began to fray. Jessica's worries hinted at unspoken fears, their lives felt like a tightrope walk, and every moment Ryan spent running around town in search of Buddy pulled him further away from home. Whispers began to circulate. "Why help a veteran when your family is suffering?" they muttered over coffee. Ryan could feel the eyes on him, full of judgment, as if his efforts to help another man's pain made his own less valid. One fateful evening, tensions boiled over. At a community gathering, he crossed paths with Sam, who was clearly struggling. The pressure cracked open, and hearts bared raw truths. "You think finding Buddy will help me forget?" Sam challenged, his voice trembling. "You have a family to care for. Do you even get it?" Ryan's chest tightened. "I do. You think I don't know what it means to fight through darkness? We're all struggling here." Their eyes fixed, the world around them hushed, and they stood together in a moment of explosive vulnerability. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With that fierce connection, the townspeople shifted, caught in a storm of empathy. They weighed Ryan's empathy against the whispers of prejudice, divided between their growing support for him and lingering biases about veterans. Just as the air thickened with tension, the hunt for Buddy turned desperate. Ryan leaped into action as he spotted a familiar figure in the distance. Buddy, bounding joyfully across the road, was just within reach until he scrambled away, a flash of fur disappearing around the bend. Would this final chase lead to healing for Sam? Or would the town's shadowy doubts yank them apart instead? Ryan stood at the precipice, heart pounding. What would come of this high-stakes chase, a reunion that could transform lives or tear them apart forever? The answers lingered just out of reach. Ryan's breath caught in his throat as he dashed after Buddy. The rhythm of his heartbeat thundered in his ears, drowning out the world around him. He sidestepped an old pickup and sprinted down the familiar road of Maplewood, urgency guiding his every step. All around him, the fading light of the evening cast the town in a golden hue, the kind of warmth that usually calmed the heart. But tonight it only intensified his sense of desperation. "Buddy!" he shouted, voice cracking. The echoes of his call mingled with the rustling leaves and fading chatter from the community gathering behind him. Each step felt heavier, weighed down by the uncertainty of what lay ahead. He could see it now, the bend in the road. Would the dog still be there? As he rounded the corner, he spotted Buddy, but this time the dog wasn't alone. A small group of children, Jake and Lily among them, were on the other side of the fence, peering out with wide eyes. "Ryan!" Jake yelled, excitement competing with confusion. "Stay back!" Ryan shouted, pushing back the worry. What if Buddy got scared again? The last thing they needed was a runaway dog in a town full of startled children, but Buddy glanced back at Ryan, tail wagging furiously, barking happily as he darted to the fence. It was as if he knew. He wasn't just waiting, he was playing. The sight carved a mix of hope and dread in Ryan's heart. He just needed to get to him before something happened. "Buddy!" Ryan called again, easing his voice, hoping to coax the dog into a slow retreat. "Come on, boy." Before he could take another step, Sam appeared at the corner, the sheen of worry etched into the lines of his weathered face. "Did you find him?" There was anguish in his tone, a raw edge that Ryan had rarely heard. "No. Not yet," Ryan replied, the words slipping out before he could think. They were both locked in a moment of unspoken fear, the captured bond of two men who, despite their struggles, found solace in a shared mission. Would this help Sam break through the walls he had built in silence? Ryan slowly approached the fence, his heart pounding like a drum. With every inch he drew closer, Buddy seemed to sense the reunion too. The dog stopped playing, ears perked, he turned back, as if sensing something powerful was brewing between them all. "Sam, he's right there." Ryan gestured toward the fence where Buddy was now sitting, head cocked, waiting, but Sam looked at Ryan, emotions warring behind his eyes. "Do you think I'm worth saving?" His voice trembled as if the question had spilled out before he could stop it. "Or is it just the dog you want?" The silence stretched, heavy and thick like winter fog settling over the ground. Ryan's heart broke a little more with each word that fell from Sam's lips. This wasn't just about Buddy, it never was. This was about healing, about two wounded souls, each carrying their own burdens, reaching for hope somewhere across an invisible divide. "Sam," Ryan said softly, feeling the weight of the moment tether him to the ground. "We're all worth saving. Not just Buddy." Just then, a hush slid through the gathering as the townspeople began to emerge from the shadows, drawn by the tension, eyes wide with curiosity and concern. They could feel the stakes rising. "Help me," Sam whispered, voice barely audible. Ryan's heart soared as he met Sam's gaze. Maybe this chase wasn't just about finding a dog. Maybe it could spark something greater, a connection, a unity the town desperately needed. But just as Ryan approached the fence, movement caught his eye again. Suddenly, Buddy bolted deeper into the woods behind them, a wayward flash of brown. It was now or never. Would they unite in this moment of urgency? Or would the hunting instinct of Buddy lead to a deeper fracture in their already fragile lives? Ryan's body surged forward, propelled by adrenaline and hope, but the outcome was woven in uncertainty. Ryan couldn't think. His legs propelled him forward, instinct kicking in as he raced after Buddy, who was just a blur in the thickening shadows of the woods. The trees stood tall and foreboding, their branches swaying lightly under the breeze, as if warning him of what lay ahead. He pushed through, branches scraping at his arms, heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. "Buddy!" he shouted again, desperation clinging to every syllable. Was the dog really okay? Deep down, Ryan felt he was chasing more than just a pet, he was chasing hope, that glimmer of possibility. Behind him, he sensed Sam was struggling too, perhaps questioning his own worth as he grappled with unvoiced fears. The commotion of the gathering faded into the background, replaced by the rhythmic crunch of leaves underfoot and the rush of his breath. Ryan finally spotted Buddy, just a few paces ahead. The dog stood at the base of an old oak tree, sniffing at the ground. "Come on, Buddy," Ryan pleaded, reaching out instinctively. Buddy turned around, confusion etched on his furry face. He tilted his head, as if trying to decipher the urgency coursing through Ryan. But this time, there was something else in Buddy's eyes, a trust, the kind that reminded Ryan of their countless moments together. He slowed a bit, bending down slightly, hoping to coax Buddy back with a softer approach. "It's okay, boy. I'm right here." In that moment, Ryan felt the atmosphere shift. Sam's footsteps crunched along the leaves behind him. There was a hesitance in his movement, but Ryan could sense it, a glimmer of resolve. He glanced back briefly, catching Sam's eye. "Just take one step," Ryan urged, his voice gentle but firm. Together, they could do this. Sam nodded slightly, rooted to the ground, but there was a flicker of determination now. "Okay. I'll try," he said, taking a cautious step forward. A new energy filled the air. Cherry blossoms fluttered from the tree branches above, as if nature itself was somehow aware of their fragile gathering. Ryan watched as Sam bent down, calling softly, "Buddy, come here, pup." Buddy's ears perked up at the sound of Sam's voice, and for a moment, he hesitated. Then he took a few steps toward his owner, the bond between them slowly reawakening. Ryan felt a swell in his chest. Was this the breakthrough they both needed? As Buddy moved closer to Sam, the thought of healing filled Ryan's heart. Maybe helping Buddy would mend not just one relationship, but two. Just then, Ryan noticed a flicker of movement from the corner of his eye. A figure stepped forward from the edge of the woods, an older man, pulling back the branches, an expression of concern clouding his face. "I'm sorry. Did I miss something?" shouted the man, confusion etched deep in his brow. The calm of the moment shattered as Ryan suddenly felt a surge of fear. "Buddy!" he yelled, panic rising again in his throat as he saw Buddy pull back, tail tucked low. Would this stranger scare Buddy away again, shaking the tenuous progress they'd made? The race against time felt more intense now, the weight of all they'd fought for hanging in the balance. What would the man do? Would he understand? Ryan's heart pounded as he prepared to respond, hoping to convince the stranger to step back and let the connection they were building flourish. But panic tightened his throat, leaving him with one question: what if they failed? "Hey! Just stay still!" Ryan called out, his voice sharp with urgency. He needed the older man to understand that the stakes were higher than he realized. One wrong move could unravel everything. The man blinked in surprise, hands raised slightly in surrender. "I didn't mean to intrude. I saw the dog running, thought something was wrong." His brow furrowed, concern shifting into confusion as he took a cautious step back. "Please. Just let us handle this." Ryan shouted again, his body tense, eyes flicking between Buddy and the man. He could see Buddy's anxiety rise again, tail tucking even further as fear flickered through the dog's bright eyes. Sam didn't speak, but Ryan could see the conflict in his face. The moment felt fragile, like a glass teetering on the edge of a table. Would they keep their balance, or would it shatter? "Buddy, come here." Sam called softly now, his voice steadying, realization dawning. He knew that while Ryan's panic was coming from a place of fear, he needed to be the anchor. Slowly, Buddy began to inch toward Sam, heartening Ryan's hope. "That's it, boy. Just a little closer," Sam coaxed. The older man leaned against the tree, waiting, eyes intent but calm. It caught Ryan off guard. There was kindness in his gaze, the type that seemed to signal he meant well. Perhaps he could still help. "Look," the older man said, his voice softer now, "I'm a veteran. I know how dogs can change lives. If there's something I can do." The tension didn't fade entirely, but Ryan felt a glimmer of understanding. This man shared an unspoken bond with Buddy. The realization shifted everything for Ryan, a sudden light breaking through between them. "You can help by keeping your distance," Ryan replied, allowing a breath of relief to wash over him. The man nodded without a word, sensing the fragile connection forming again between the three of them. Buddy paused, reassurance flickering in Sam's eyes, and finally closed the distance, nuzzling against his owner's leg. The relief that flooded through Ryan was palpable. Buddy was home again, where he was meant to be. Suddenly, overwhelmed by emotion, Sam dropped to his knees, wrapping his arms tightly around the dog, who responded with slobbery licks and joyous yips. "I thought I had lost you, boy," Sam murmured, his voice breaking with unshed tears. As Ryan stepped closer, he felt the heaviness in his heart lift. Maybe, just maybe, they were discovering how to mend broken things, not only the bond between Sam and Buddy, but something deeper within themselves. "Thank you," Sam whispered to Ryan, tears glistening in his eyes, making their moment even more powerful. The dog wagged his tail, caught in the warmth of their closeness. The older man didn't step away but instead watched the reunion with a soft smile as his own memories swirled. "You've got a good friend there," he said, nodding toward Buddy. Each word pulled Ryan deeper into realization of just how much their lives hung in the balance. As they stood together, a new understanding formed in the air. A sense of camaraderie, the feeling that sometimes, the path to healing was just as important as the healing itself. But then came the rustle of leaves again, a sound beyond their circle of warmth. A figure shifted in the shadows, loud enough for all three to turn their heads. Was it just another animal in the woods, or something more? Ryan's heart raced again. What now? Would they trust again only to be met with fear? The thought gnawed at him as the figure moved closer, curiosity igniting trepidation. Who was watching them now? The shadow shifted, pulling their attention like a magnet. Ryan stiffened, and Sam instinctively shielded Buddy, who sensed the tension. The figure stepped into view, revealing an out-of-breath woman clad in a worn green jacket, her scarf fluttering in the crisp breeze. Her eyes darted from Sam to Ryan, landing briefly on Buddy, who now stood protectively at Sam's feet. "Sorry to startle you," she panted, hands on her knees as she caught her breath. "I thought I saw someone in trouble." Ryan took a cautious step forward. "We weren't in trouble, just trying to calm down a very scared dog." She straightened, brushing her hair behind her ears. "I know how that feels. My dog ran off last week. I would have done anything to get her back." Her gaze softened as she looked at Buddy. The shared pain of losing a pet hung in the air, thick and raw. Ryan felt a wave of empathy wash over him. The connection seemed real, and for a fleeting moment, he understood the struggles of others through the lens of this stranger's worry. "He's safe now," he assured her quietly. "But those moments can be terrifying." "Your dog?" she asked, a thread of curiosity weaving through her concern. "This is Buddy." "He's my brother," Sam interjected, a smile breaking through his earlier tension. "Well, he feels like family." The woman chuckled softly, the sound a release of the pent-up energy surrounding them. "I get that. My dog saved me the day I adopted her." Her smile faded as she glanced around. "I thought I'd lost her for good." Ryan could see Sam relax more, the connection deepening between them all. "What's your name?" Sam asked gently. "Julia," she replied, taking a cautious step closer. She crouched a bit, eye level with Buddy. "Isn't that right, boy? You've been on quite an adventure today." Buddy tilted his head, his tail flicking back to life with hesitant joy at the attention. The moment seemed to grow lighter, the shadows of earlier fears gradually dissolving. "Yeah," Ryan admitted, his voice even now as he took Julia in. "We had our share of drama, but it looks like we're all okay now." Julia nodded, her eyes full of understanding. "It's funny, isn't it? How quickly things can go south. One minute you're fine, and the next, everything feels like it's falling apart." There was something about her words, a deep pull in them. It resonated with Ryan, sparking a curiosity within him. "Have you had just one dog?" he asked. "Just one," she smiled. "But she has taken me on more hands-on adventures than I ever imagined." Before he could respond, a sudden sound pierced through their little bubble, the crack of a twig from further down the path. Ryan's heart thudded loudly, the peace they had just cultivated feeling fragile all over again. "What was that?" he asked, tense again. "Only one way to find out," Julia said, brimming with resolve and daring. Ryan looked between Sam and Julia, the flickering curiosity sparking in his chest. "Should we check it out?" he asked slowly. "I think we should," Sam replied, his voice firm and steady, as if reassuring not just Ryan but Buddy, too. As they moved tentatively toward the source of the noise, an unexpected feeling hugged Ryan's chest. They weren't just pushing into the unknown together, they were also carving out a stronger connection among themselves as unlikely allies, each holding on to the warmth of renewed purpose. What would they find in the shadows that lurked ahead? Would it lead to another layer of discovery or a reminder of the uncertainties that lay in wait? Ryan felt a knot twist in his stomach, unsure but ready to face whatever came next. They moved cautiously, the anticipation in the air palpable. Every step echoed in Ryan's ears as he strained to listen for another sound. Sam's fingers brushed Buddy's ruffled fur, grounding himself in the moment. Julia led the way with a focused determination, her eyes scanning the underbrush. "Do you think it's an animal?" Sam whispered, glancing nervously at Ryan. "Maybe," Ryan replied, forcing his mind to settle. "Or maybe someone else out here." Julia paused, raising a finger to her lips. "Let us be quiet." They slowed their pace, each breath synchronizing with the hushed rustle of leaves. Just ahead, the path converged with a tangle of bushes. Something shifted behind them, pinned in shadows. Ryan's heart raced. "On three, let us take a look," Julia said, her voice a whisper yet charged with a spark of bravery. They nodded in agreement. 1, 2, 3. Julia exclaimed, and they moved closer, instinctively leaning toward the thicket. Through the dense foliage, the movement revealed itself, a flash of brown and white fur panting and trembling. A dog, much like Buddy, was wedged against the trunk of a small tree, whimpering softly. The sight tugged at Ryan's heart. "Hey, Buddy," Julia cooed. "It's okay. We're not going to hurt you." The dog looked up, wide eyes, a mix of fear and hope. Seeing this, Ryan felt his breath catch in his throat. He could almost see a reflection of his own anxieties in the animal's eyes. Ryan knelt, his hands outstretched in a gesture of reassurance. "Can you come here?" The dog hesitated, tail tucked. Finally, after a few long moments, it took a cautious step forward. The thicket parted, revealing the rest of its form. A tattered collar hung loose around its neck, definitely a lost pet. "We can help," Sam encouraged, slowly inching toward the frightened creature. As if compelled by a magnetic force, the dog took another step, inching closer. Julia knelt, mirroring Ryan's pose, her voice calm and soothing. "See? We're friends." Suddenly, the timid dog bounded forward, pressing against Ryan's hand that lay softly on the ground. A startled yip escaped it, and Ryan's heart filled with something profound. It was a moment of connection, a reminder of the shared struggles. "It must have been lost for a while," Julia said, her brow furrowed. "I can't imagine how scared it must be. Let us see if there's a tag." Ryan gently lifted the fur, revealing a name, Max. "Max. That's a good name." Sam smiled, his earlier trepidation fading. Just as they were about to celebrate this small victory, a loud rustling came from behind them, causing Ryan to spin around. The hairs on the back of his neck prickled. This time, the sound felt urgent, like footsteps rushing through the leaves. "Did you hear that?" Sam whispered, eyes wide. "Yeah, I did." Julia's voice wavered slightly, the energy shifting again in a way that made Ryan uneasy. What emerged was not what they expected. A silhouette big and tall loomed just beyond the trees, its outline dark against the muted light of the fading day. Ryan's apprehension surged as he gripped Max tightly. "Who's there?" Julia called, her voice steady but edged with uncertainty. In that clutch of heartbeats, Ryan's breath caught, an instinct kicking in. This was more than just an adventure now. It felt like a moment of reckoning, a confrontation just waiting to unfold. Would they face a threat or a lifeline? The shadows loomed larger, and the weight of the unknown pulsed in the air. Ryan could feel every beat of his heart, and the raw urgency of the situation ignited a flicker of hope tangled with fear. What would happen next? The silhouette stepped forward, slowly emerging from the gloom. Ryan's heart raced. It was a figure draped in a battered army jacket, camouflaged pants, and boots caked with dirt. A cap shadowed the person's face, but the sense of weariness in the stance was palpable. "Hey!" Julia shouted, her voice louder than intended. Are you okay?" For a moment, silence hung heavy in the air. The figure squinted at them, a brief flicker of recognition flashing across their face. The dog, Max, pulled at Ryan's grip, now pulling him towards the stranger like a magnet. "Max!" The figure called, voice thick with emotion. In an instant, Max was off, darting through the air like a bolt of lightning. He raced toward the figure, tail wagging furiously. The relief that washed over the soldier's features was evident, clearing away the shadow of fear that had once loomed. Ryan and the others remained frozen in place, a mix of confusion and concern swirling among them. "Is this your dog?" Ryan ventured cautiously. "Yes," the soldier croaked, dropping to one knee as Max leapt into their arms, covering their face in wet, grateful kisses. "I thought I lost him for good." The soldier's voice cracked, and Ryan could feel the weight of their emotional burden filling the space between them. This was no mere chance encounter. It felt important, monumental. "Are you all right?" Sam asked, stepping closer to offer support without intruding. The soldier took a deep breath, still embracing Max, before looking up. It was then Ryan saw the weariness etched into their face, the bags under their eyes, the tightness of the jaw. I'm just having a rough time. The past, it catches up to you out here." Julia exchanged glances with Ryan and Sam, her expression one of understanding. "You might not know this, but a lot of people want to help," she said gently. "You're not alone." The soldier's eyes glistened. "It can feel really lonely out here," they admitted. "Especially after what I've seen. I didn't know where to go or who might care." Ryan's heart ached at the honesty. The forest that had felt so oppressive now seemed to echo with the weight of shared experiences. He stepped forward, unsure but compelled. "We're here," he said. "Can we help you?" A flicker of hope shone through the soldier's weariness, yet it was mixed with skepticism. "Help? Seems like a big ask." "I'm just trying to get my bearings." "No pressure," Sam assured, holding up his hands as if to ease the burden. "But you don't have to figure it all out alone. We have a bit of food and—" He glanced at Julia. "We just want to make sure you're all right." There was a moment of hesitation before the soldier nodded slightly, still hugging Max tightly. "Maybe I could use a friend." For Ryan, it was like a light breaking through a thick fog, a realization that sometimes just showing up is the first step to healing. "Let's sit down for a minute," Julia suggested, scanning their surroundings. "We can talk, and maybe you can tell us about Max's adventure too." As they settled onto the ground, a semblance of comfort began to bloom. The forest felt different now. It wasn't just a backdrop but a setting for a story they shared. Ryan could feel the shift happening, something transformative just beyond their reach. But uncertainty still lingered in the air, and as they spoke, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. What troubles lay ahead for them all, and could these new connections withstand the test of time? The night deepened around them, and just like that, another rustle broke through the darkness, sending a chill down Ryan's spine. "Did you hear that?" he asked, eyes widening, suddenly alert. "Yeah," Julia replied, glancing back at the trees. What else could be lurking in the shadows? And with that, the air thickened again with uncertainty. Would they uncover something darker waiting just beyond the light? The rustling grew louder, like whispers bouncing off the trees, taunting them with uncertainty. Ryan's heart drummed a relentless beat as he peered deeper into the darkness. It felt like the moment before a storm charged and unpredictable. "Stay close," he murmured to Sam and Julia, instinctively taking a step in front of them. The soldier, still on the ground with Max, remained vigilant, scanning the shadows with a mix of fear and resolve. "Is someone there?" The soldier called out, their voice tinged with the authority of someone who had faced far worse threats. No response came, only the eerie sounds of the forest at night. Julia shifted, her eyes darting from the trees to the soldier. "Maybe it's just an animal. We should stay together." "I don't like this," Sam whispered, his fingers twitching at his sides. "What if it's something more?" An unease settled among them, thickening the air. The soldier gently set Max down, the dog's instincts now kicking in. He stood alert, ears perked, ready to protect. "Do you hear that?" The soldier asked, voice low, but edged with the tension that always accompanies danger. Everyone nodded, straining to decipher the sounds that layered the stillness: the soft crunch of leaves, a snap of a twig, the rustle of something moving through the underbrush. From the corner of Ryan's eye, he saw something dark drop down from a tree branch, just a shadow, an eyes wide open moment, but it sent a shiver down his spine. Suddenly, the rustling stopped. All that remained was a suffocating silence, even the wind holding its breath. It was then the soldier took a step forward, bravery clashing with vulnerability. "I won't let anything happen to you. I promise." Max let out a low growl, filled with instincts that made Ryan's hair stand on end. There was a deep connection between the soldier and the dog, a bond built on trust and shared hardship. "What's your name?" Ryan finally asked, trying to break the tension. "Alex." The soldier's gaze flickered to Ryan momentarily before falling back to the trees. "And I don't think we're alone." As the words left their lips, a sudden movement burst through the underbrush, and Ryan's heart skipped. A figure emerged, not from the dark shadows, but from behind a thicket: a small deer, wide-eyed but harmless. It darted away, bounding into the night, leaving them all breathless and startled. Laughter erupted nervously from Sam, a release from the tension that had bound them. "Well, that's a relief." Alex chuckled too, though it was strained. "Not exactly what I was expecting." Ryan felt something shift in the air. It was lighter, but the sense of danger still lingered. "We should keep moving. We can't stay out here too long." "Going where?" Julia asked, panic creeping back. "We don't even know where the nearest shelter is." "I know a spot," Alex said, standing tall and brushing the dirt off their knees. "It has a fire pit, a small cabin. It's been years since I've been there, but if it's still standing, we'll be safe." Ryan felt a rush of gratitude. "Lead the way, then." As they walked, Alex began sharing snippets of their past. Small tales intertwined with laughter floated through the night. Stories of battling fatigue and fear took the form of vulnerability in the soft glow of their growing camaraderie. But just as he began to feel a flicker of hope that they would make it through the night, another sound echoed from the shadows: a low, menacing growl, more than just the forest's usual chorus. The group halted, once again caught in the web of uncertainty. "What was that?" Julia gasped. "Whatever it is, we have to be ready." Alex dropped into a defensive stance, Max instinctively at their side, ready for the fight. Ryan's heart raced, fear morphing into adrenaline. This can't be happening. As the shadows deepened, and the growls grew ever closer, he realized they were about to face something far beyond what any of them had prepared for. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together," Alex stated, but doubt lingered in the air. Could they depend on each other in the face of an unknown danger? Would they find the strength to overcome yet another obstacle threatening to tear them apart? The encroaching darkness held secrets, and they were about to find out just how alive it truly was. The growl echoed through the underbrush, a guttural sound that seemed to shake the very leaves around them. Ryan's skin prickled as he gripped Sam's arm, not daring to look away from where the sound had originated. The shadows twisted, forming shapes that made it hard to tell what lurked just out of sight. "Stay together," Alex commanded, voice steady despite the tension. Max's growl deepened, his body tense and ready, and Ryan tried to draw comfort from it, but the anxiety was thick enough to cut. "What do we do?" Sam whispered, every ounce of courage drained from his voice. "Just wait," Alex replied, shifting slightly, eyes narrowing as they scanned the darkness. "We need to see what's coming before making a move." In that moment of stillness, Ryan felt his heart hammering in his chest, a rhythm that blended with the sounds of the forest, a relentless reminder of their vulnerability. An owl hooted in the distance, almost mocking their predicament. Ryan took a deep breath, attempting to center himself. "We can't let fear take over. We've gotten through worse, right?" he said, though it sounded more like a question than a statement. Julia's eyes flew between Ryan and Alex, uncertainty etched on her features. "What if it isn't just an animal?" she asked, fear evident in her trembling voice. Just as the air thickened with dread, another rustle disturbed the underbrush, closer this time, and then a shape. Something large emerged from the dense foliage, a shadowy silhouette that momentarily froze them all. Then it stepped into the dim light filtering through the trees, and Ryan's breath caught. The figure was more canine than human, its fur matted and dirty. But it was the eyes that took him by surprise, intelligent and desperate, flickering like a candle struggling against the dark. "It's another dog?" Sam whispered, blinking in disbelief. Alex lowered themselves slightly, gesturing for them to remain quiet. "That's a stray," they whispered back, their voice softening. "It's been through a lot." Ryan's instincts kicked in. He took a cautious step forward, waving his arms down, trying to soothe the animal. "Hey there," he said gently, feeling an unexplainable urge to help. "It's okay. We're not going to hurt you." The dog's gaze flickered from Alex to Ryan and then to the others, uncertainty and caution written all over its features. It sniffed the air, tentative, then took a few steps closer, its ears drooping as if it had given up hope. Max, still at Alex's side, let out a low whine. The sound acted like a bridge, transcending the fear in the air. With a few more cautious steps, the newcomer came closer, the tension in its posture easing just a bit. "See? It just needs kindness," Ryan encouraged, heart racing with the promise of connection. The stray sniffed Ryan's outstretched hand, then with a moment of hesitation licked his palm. Julia gasped, covered her mouth in surprise, and Sam's shoulders visibly relaxed. The mood shifted in an instant, as if the dark had been held at bay for just a moment longer. "Looks like it's been through some tough times," Alex said, joining Ryan on the ground to meet the dog eye to eye. "Like us. We all deserve some care." Ryan felt a swell of emotion. Maybe it's just what we need to help each other. As they collectively crouched down, reaching out, Ryan had a sudden realization. Sometimes the simplest of gestures could ignite profound change. Yet, just as the group began to bond with this unexpected companion, another growl rippled through the air, different, more ominous and closer than before. "What was that?" Julia's voice quavered, fear creeping back in like a shadow invading the light. "We can't stay here," Ryan said urgently, tension coiling in the pit of his stomach. If there's one danger, there could be more. What if the others? The words hung between them, and as they glanced at one another, a stark truth settled in: they were still not safe. The urgency of their situation crashed over them, more profound than fear. With a newfound resolve in their eyes, they knew they had to move quickly, not just for themselves but for the shy stray they had just welcomed into their chaotic world. The uncertainties around them loomed larger as they prepared to face whatever darkness awaited. "Let us go," Alex said, steeling themselves as the growls drew nearer. At that moment, Ryan understood this was more than just survival. It was about finding strength in unity, about the power of compassion in an unforgiving world. But would it be enough against the unknown lurking just out of sight? And amid the rustling leaves, another sound surged, an echoing howl that seemed to answer their call. They were far from done. Ryan's heart raced, heavy with the realization that they had crossed an invisible line. They were now knee-deep in something much larger than their individual struggles, something that called for collective courage. The growl just behind them turned into a haunting echo, pulsating through the trees like a warning bell. Each of them felt it, an icy grip of fear binding them together. "Keep close," Alex commanded, taking a step toward the shadows while Max remained ever vigilant by their side. The stray, still unsure but now slightly emboldened by Ryan's gentle touch, stood beside him, tail flicking uncertainly. There was a power in their togetherness, a spark igniting amidst the uncertainty. With determination, they pressed on, moving quickly and quietly into the underbrush. The thicket rustled, branches snapping with each cautious step, sending a shiver through their ranks. At that moment, they weren't just a mismatched group of individuals, they became a family of sorts, unified by shared fears and newfound hopes. "Where do we go now?" Julia whispered, her breath hitching in anticipation. Up ahead, Alex gestured toward a cluster of trees that seemed less dense. "That way leads to a clearing. We can regroup there." As they moved, Ryan focused on every rustle, every shadow. Then, like a switch being flipped, the growl crescendoed into a chorus of howls, more than just one. Panic surged through Ryan. "How many are there?" he muttered under his breath. "Stay together." Alex's voice rang with resolve, a beacon in the growing apprehension. The stray dog glanced back as it sensed the tension in the air, its instincts kicking in again. Then they saw it. Emerging from the shadows was a pack of stray dogs, their eyes gleaming in the dim light, gnashing teeth revealing their own fight for survival. A mixed harmony of growls filled the air as they closed in, and instinct kicked into high gear. "We have to show them we mean no harm," Ryan yelled, feeling a fierce warrior spirit rise within him. It wasn't just about himself anymore, it was about everyone, about connection, hope, and healing. He stepped forward, arms extended, trying to convey peace amidst the chaos. Slowly, Max stepped beside him and let out a curious whine. The energy shifted as the pack hesitated, some of the growls wavering into muted sniffs, replaced by a sense of curiosity. "Easy now," Ryan murmured, his heart thumping against his ribs, a rhythm of life, bond, trust. Alex knelt close, echoing Ryan's gesture. "We're all in this together, right? Let us show them what unity looks like." Suddenly, it clicked, a connection brewing, sparked by a chain of shared experiences. The pack looked at them, a blend of hunger and curiosity rippling through them. They had become companions in hardship, each bearing the weight of unspoken histories. In a bold move, Julia took off her jacket and placed it on the ground, an offering to the pack, a gesture to show they meant no harm. It was a breaking point, a unified moment. And then it happened. One of the strays, a scruffy mutt with a missing ear, stepped forward. Tentatively, it nudged Max. The wordless exchange swirled in the air, and, for the first time, the growls turned soft, the powerful energy transformed into a community. As if on cue, the entire pack began to settle, circling around them, cautiously inviting yet hopeful. "This is incredible," Julia breathed, her eyes sparkling with joy. Ryan felt a flowing warmth spread through him. He watched as uncertainties melted away, replaced by a bond deeper than he had ever seen, his family and Alex's falling into rhythm with the strays. Together, they existed in a fragile world filled with hope. "Let us get these pups what they need," Alex stated, a commanding compassion threading through their voice. "There's an old cabin not far from here. We can find food, shelter." With determination and the newfound spirit of camaraderie, they began to move, threading through shadows filled with promise. The strays fell into line behind them, forming a makeshift pack of resilience and support, embodying the very essence of What they had fought for, the healing power of togetherness. As they reached the clearing at last, Ryan gazed into the faces of his companions, every one of them transformed in this moment. The collective burden seemed lighter, and the once oppressive night air felt like it was filled with possibility. "Together, we'll face whatever comes," he said, looking at each face shining with understanding, the trust that fueled their steps forward stronger than ever. In that moment, they each understood, healing, hope, and resilience thrive not in solitude but in connection. As light cascaded down through the trees above, illuminating their path forward, Ryan smiled, knowing they would emerge from this experience forever changed. They had found something invaluable, each other, and as this chapter closed, they stepped into the unknown, hearts intertwined, ready to embrace whatever awaited them. Now, let us take a moment to come together just like they did. You need to subscribe now to catch more incredible stories like this one. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread these profound journeys. Comment below to tell me how this ending made you feel and what transformations you witnessed, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Real connections await us all.